This may be one of my more unpopular videos and unpopular opinions, so let me know your thoughts down below. But I can't be the only one that's seen these videos of increasingly savage violence in Manchester, London, Paris or Berlin. Now, underneath these videos, there are always some people complaining, usually women and sometimes some tough guy keyboard warrior men, saying, why is no one helping these people under attack and where are all the men? Well, in answer to the latter question, the reason there's no men standing up anymore is because there's been a mass demoralisation across the Western world, and every decent and strong masculine quality has been heavily demonised. Therefore, many young men today have been conditioned to be individualistic and feminine, but the main reason people don't get involved is because it's just too violent these days. Now, of course, it goes without saying, if this was my wife or son or someone beloved to me or just someone who's clearly innocent, you have a duty to get involved as a man. But that withstanding, the reality is it's just too violent these days. Remember the case a few years ago where a 50-year-old Lee Pomeroy was stabbed to death in front of his 14-year-old son by challenging a Darren Pencil on the train. The confrontation started simply because Pencil was blocking the aisle, but this is exactly what I mean. It's just not worth arguing. Yes, this is an extreme example, but I've seen many such cases like this in London where someone gets punched or stamped on or something like that simply for a simple infraction. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's seen things like this on the London Underground, youngsters just bashing through the barriers and jumping over them. If you stop them, of course, you run the risk of quite severe violence. Another consideration these days is even if you are the hero and manage to stop these guys, as soon as they mention the magic R word, you'll be the one under the microscope, you'll be the one that the police are talking to. And of course, once that story makes The Guardian, they'll make out that a few desperate architects and engineers just really needed to get to uni quickly to complete their courses before a toxic white bigot decided to stop them because he's evil and bigoted, and that's career and social life over. You also have examples such as this where a guy tries to get involved and stop the violence, but eventually they turn on him. I can't show you the video because YouTube might take this whole video down, but you get the picture. Incidentally, this reminds me of a bizarre experience I had in London. I left my flat one day and there was a girl laid out completely motionless in the street. Now, this girl was of minority extraction, but above her was a man holding an umbrella, a white guy, and a guy who'd given her a jacket. He was a Japanesey looking guy. Now, I went in and got my wife and she brought a blanket out and we put it over this girl to protect her from the sun, and so the guy didn't have to hold the umbrella and the other guy could get his jacket back. But when we did that, we noticed there were a couple of black guys started to mill around and look at us very suspiciously. Eventually, one of them came over to us quite aggressively and was asking, what are we doing? Why isn't this girl in the recovery position? Who do you think you are? And of course, she already was in the recovery position. We already were on the phone to the ambulance. But this didn't stop this guy's heavy suspicion towards us and even aggressive behaviour. Now, eventually, this girl with our blanket got up and ran off in her drunken or druggy stupor, whatever it was. But it was a lesson to me. Even when you try and help, you're seen as the bad guy. You're seen as someone untrustworthy. Now, the people in government, the liberal elites in the media, and the people in corporate offices don't tend to see these problems at street level. Things can work okay in those environments, but that doesn't mean they're working okay on the whole. In fact, quite the opposite. That breakdown is what you're seeing on your screen right now. This is from what's supposed to be the incredibly joyous and vibrant Notting Hill Carnival recently. But to be honest, I've personally got to the point where I'm not going to complain, I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm just going to leave the utopian liberals to work it out for themselves. There's no point in arguing about any of this. Plus, when you argue, people just solidify themselves in their ego position even more. With the decline we're seeing across our towns and cities, it seems to me the only way to get through this is to start to form new communities where shared values can actually triumph. Such a community could prize the traditional values of personal responsibility, social harmony, and a sense of discipline that everybody engages in to create a broader social freedom. And of course, this would apply to many white Brits too. You see videos of them these days, such as this lady on a plane causing trouble. This sort of behaviour is outrageous, but also comes from the general social decline we're seeing, and in my view, needs to be arrested before things totally collapse. Anyway, my advice would be if you're travelling to London and you see trouble forming, just stay out of the way. Don't get involved, it is not worth it. But do let me know your thoughts down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel.